Hill, and this speech is to inform my audience of the great achievements of Nelson Mandela. Here's my audience. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Nelson Mandela. Sometimes our prisons are of our own making. Do not let our past mistakes keep you from moving forward. The opinions of others should not hold us back on living our lives. In the end, only you determine what can hold you back in life. Nelson Mandela is perhaps the best example of overcoming obstacles. He knows how to show restraint in hard times. World leaders have recognized Mandela's dedication to peace. He was able to overcome discrimination in prisons to become the first black president of South Africa. By showing his will to overcome such oppression, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Nelson Mandela has demonstrated restraint in difficult circumstances. He recognized the importance of taking two enemies and making them become one. Kaitlyn states Mandela found a way to overcome two national anthems into one. The blacks in South Africa sang God Bless Africa, and the whites in South Africa sang The Call. He was sought out by white government officials for his opinions. A minister of justice, a top spy, and the president of South Africa visited him secretly while he was in prison. The leader of the white freedom struggle, after meeting with Mandela, agreed war between two groups would not have a winner. Mandela showed self-control during the hardest days in prison. He did not allow the mistreatment of blacks to enrage him. Blacks got fewer privileges because of the color of their skin. He encouraged his fellow prisoners to seek better treatment by using nonviolent resistance. He convinced his enemies to release him. He showed his enemies trust and respect. He taught his enemies that violence led only to more death. In time, the world leaders recognized the truth of his words. The United Nations honored Nelson Mandela with his own day. On July 18th, it is International Mandela Day. It started on July 18, 2009, Fam wrote. Nelson Mandela's birthday is July 18th. The UN made this day to honor Mandela's 67th year in politics. Nelson Mandela Center of Memory helps people honor him more. People are asked to volunteer for 67 minutes at a charity. Each minute stands for 1 year of his service. The purpose of this day is to inspire people to change the world for the better. People are encouraged to take action and make change. People can donate old or unwanted clothing to homeless shelters. The UN staff in New York are going to rebuild homes destroyed by Hurricane Sandy. International Mandela Day focuses on more than racial arguments. People are encouraged to help with getting kids an education. Many backpacks are prepared to help kids who cannot afford them. While Mandela impacts the world, his best-known accomplishment changed his own country. In 1994, Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa. He addressed racial problems in South Africa. The History Channel states he formed a multiracial government. Mandela called it Government of National Unity. He said that South Africa would be a rainbow nation at peace with itself and the world. Mandela encouraged racial equality. He wrote a new constitution to include the majority, no matter what race. In 1995, the Afrikaner national rugby team made it to the World Cup. It was hosted by South Africa. Mandela encouraged both black and white citizens to cheer on their team. Racial problems were not the only problems Mandela faced. He started the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The TRC investigated claims of violated homes and political rights. There are 3 committees: the Amnesty Committee, Reparation and Rehabilitation Committee, and the Human Rights Violations Committee. As his actions impacted South Africa, he also influenced many around the world. Nelson Mandela was awarded one of the highest awards a person can receive. In 1993, Mandela was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. He was given the award with de Klerk Bougainville states. De Klerk was the white president of South Africa who freed Nelson Mandela from prison. When Mandela was in prison, he and de Klerk became allies. Mandela won the Nobel Peace Prize for promoting goodwill. He made segregation end in South Africa in a peaceful manner. Mandela laid a new groundwork for a new democracy. Even after the Nobel Peace Prize, Mandela helped change the world for the better. He has established a number of organizations related to human rights. Nelson Mandela Foundation is a non-profit organization that promotes communication about social issues. The Elders is a group of public figures from around the world that address global problems. Mandela also founded many charities, says BBC. One of the main charities that deals with HIV and AIDS is called 46664. The name comes from his prisoner number. It got its name to remind people of the determination Mandela showed in his fight for equality. Mandela had a son who passed away from AIDS in 1995. Mandela was able to take one of the worst times in his life and turn it into a learning experience to help others. In conclusion, Nelson Mandela deserves to be recognized for all of his great achievements during his lifetime. While he has many achievements, some stand out in people's eyes more than others. He showed amazing restraint in a difficult time. He was honored with his own day by the United Nations. Mandela was the first black president of South Africa. He was also given a huge honor by being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. You now know more amazing achievements of Nelson Mandela. As Mandela Day approaches, go out and find a way to impact the world.